how's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Forever Arsenal podcast. Apologies for being late. A couple of us had to get back from Paris. Usually it's out by now, but if you're watching this, it's out right now. So, yeah, do what you need to do. Like, subscribe, leave your comments. I'm sure there's going to be a good few of those because it's the last meaningful game of the season. And done. Out of the way, no progress into the final. Another loss to PSG, 2-1 at Parc des Princes, 3-1 on aggregate. Me and Lee were there in very different circumstances. Lee in the away end, I was in the home end, funnily enough, in the ultra section. So two very different experiences, but both experiences have both led us to frustration, anger, rage. So we might see some frustration, anger, and rage on this podcast. We didn't see it on the pitch against Paris Saint-Germain. Arteta called for it. Cheeky to call for emotion when, for the last couple of years, the side's been playing like robots. But sorry, I'm ranting already. Big up James, big up Lee, big up Jordan. Where do we begin? Lee, talk to me. How was the away end? I mean, I couldn't hear you, but in terms of visually, I knew you lot was doing your thing for the majority of the game. But being with the Ultras, I couldn't hear a thing.
Yeah, it's difficult. Like you have to say that PSG is one of the best atmospheres in Europe. I have to say that, the Tannoy man gets them going. Whether you think that makes it a great atmosphere or not, you have to give them credit for that. The away end, they put it into 4 sections, so 2 up top, 2 down the bottom. So it's not like when they come to the Emirates, they're all in one. In harmony, you're all sort of like blocks off, so they do it very, very cleverly. But listen, not a bad view from where I was. No netting. I was in the lower tier, so it was all right. Listen, the one positive I can say is that we weren't intimidated by the atmosphere or anything like that. We went out and played the first 20, 25 minutes, but as everybody was saying around me and everybody, you got to score in that moment when you're on top. They did in the first leg, and we didn't. We had chances too, not just clear-cut chances. There was on a couple of occasions the ball was whipped across the 6-yard box, and dare I say it, a proper centre forward would be on the end of it. But for me, I think that listen, I'm proud of the way we played and everything, but that performance and that result and over the 2 legs just showed our indeficiencies, what we haven't got. We haven't got a striker. We've gone, 5 months without a striker now, or is it 4 months since January? And it's shown when it's mattered in top competitions, but it highlighted it to me on last night is that not quite good enough. Beaten by the better team. And listen, when you get into the latter stages of these sort of competitions, it's fine lines. It's your top players get you over the line, and we ain't got enough of them. Simple as that. Simple as that. You can blame the manager, and I've seen a lot of people blaming the manager, but is it his fault we're missing open goals? Is it his fault that we're missing the chances that we're doing? Goalkeeper making brilliant saves? No. But ultimately, I look at both teams. I think we was in a better position than them when we played them. When it come to January, they sorted themselves out with a couple of signings, which, made them where they are now. And another season of looking at it of ifs, maybes, and, it could have been us. But I also think, dare I say it? I don't know how you guys think about this. I thought Martinelli was outstanding in the first half, tired in the second half. When it really matters, big games, I think our players are tired. And why they're tired is because they're being played too much during the whole of the season. So when it really matters, we're not quite at it. I know I'm making excuses, but at the end of it, boys, we've got to hold our hands up and say, team's not good enough. The manager's not good enough to get us to where we want to go. And it's painful to see, and it's painful enough to see the game, and then all the other supporters around, laughing and joking at you, tagging you into things and all that, if I'll be really honest, part of me just feels that's not football no more. Like, you know, I mean, give me the old sort of style, you know, when you have proper banter, like when you see each other and all that, like all this online crap. You know what I mean, ridiculing you and all that. Like, if they want to ever take the mickey out of you and they want to go too far, then you have a punch up, don't you? Like back like in the good old days, prefer to do that than doing this all online stuff and tagging you to it and all that. Like, you know. And at the end of the day, look, it is harsh. Every team around us that we don't like have all got something to look forward to. And you know what? Someone summed it up fantastically well after the game. You know, have they had better seasons than us? Not at this moment in time. But in 10 years' time, you look back and they will. And that's the hard thing at this moment, hardest thing to take, you know. In 10 years' time, no one will remember where Arsenal done and where whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you remember that trophy, didn't you? You don't really remember that you were 17th, 18th in the league or 5th or 6th and totally out of it. We've got to get over the line, boys. We've got to get over the line. And if Mikel is not the person that's doing it, I know we're going to talk about it in a minute. He's talk after the game and all that, like, you know, just
embarrassing.
Just keep your mouth shut. Don't intimidate. Don't, you know, it's bad enough getting all the stick and all that, like, you know what I mean? But to do that, don't insult us. We weren't the best team in it. We had a good run in it, but we've just been beaten home and away by a side. Don't tell me that we're a better side, and don't try and convince me that we are. It's just embarrassing. It's not the first time. Just please stop embarrassing yourself. It's bad enough having to go through it. And I'll tell you what, if I'm Mikel Arteta, I'd have this bridesmaid thing that's going about and all that. Stick it on your desk, and when you're going for in the transfer window, have a little look at it. Have a little look at it every single time and decide that you're not going to get this player and that player. Keep looking at it until you make sure that you're not. Fuel this disappointment, fuel everything, and bring it on the next season, and we go again. And that's how I feel. Very, very down at the moment. I'm going to be honest, boys. Couldn't care less about Liverpool. Couldn't care less about Newcastle. Couldn't care less about Southampton. The team, what they've done to me in January, and the defeats have done me big time.
Oh, James, you said embarrassing, but I'm not going to focus on that just yet. I'll focus on what you want. But you was at Box Park watching it. I haven't seen nothing from it. I haven't even watched the match back
No,
yet.
I haven't yet.
Everything and all my opinions are based off what I saw in the stadium live. I let people know that now. But yeah, I'm not going to ask how it was because I can assume how it was. But what are you thinking?
It's very layered, this conversation. There's so many points to it. Do you know why I had to jump in and say the word embarrassing there about the Mikel Arteta post-match? Was because forget everything, forget the 5 years. Let's take that one night in isolation. I, at full time, was actually prepared to say, do you know what, Mikel? The players played well. They went there. They stuck it on PSG. We weren't the better team over 2 legs, but I think we gave it a go. We lost out. They had a few more technicians. Donnarumma was great on the night. We went out, but you know what? The players had a go. And with what you had, Mikel, to be fair, you coached a good game and we lost. Now, does that excuse the lack of quality, which I think is partly on Arteta? All the other problems we had this season, partly on Arteta. The players who got missing, partly on Arteta. There are a million things that I can say about him. I've said it in my post-match. We're going to talk a lot about it on this day, on this podcast. But just for that day alone, I actually thought, do you know what? The team look up for it and they played some good football. And you know what, guys? We could have had 2 goals in that first 10 minutes. We played well. The reason I had to jump in and say embarrassing was because that was the worst part of anything Arteta did around that second leg, was the way he reacted to it at full time. That for me was so disappointing to hear. Of course, I was disappointed we went out, and there's lots of reasons why. But I'm just saying that the team, I think, had a really decent go at it. More than genuinely, I thought we played quite well, but we're out. But just the comments after were so frustrating for me. So frustrating. Total lack of accountability and a total lack of understanding for why we are where we are. Then if you're opening it wider beyond just what happened that night, the reason we lack quality in front of goal and have done with almost every single hurdle we've fallen at over the last 3 years is because we haven't invested in that area. Oh, shock. Is anyone surprised? Like, I mean, how many exits can we point to this season? We've talked about missed chances. When does it not become, oh, the players have just had a bad day in front of goal? And actually, no, that's their standard. That's where they are. They are there. They can't put the ball in the back of the net very efficiently. So when do we address that? Because this was a problem 3 years ago when we lost to Aubameyang. It was a problem 2 years ago. It was a problem last year. And it's a problem still now. And almost every single, it's like if it were a crime scene, you're seeing the same fingerprints at every single one, and you can't tell me who the bloody robber is, right? It's the same problem, and we haven't addressed it. We haven't even really tried to address it, and we needed to address it 2-3 years ago. Jordan, you made a great point. I've seen loads of Liverpool fans talking about it. The way Slot arrived at Liverpool and tweaked their training and just made changes to preserve their fitness and their energy levels. Arsenal fans have been talking about the overuse of players, the over-exertion. What do we hear? Kai Havertz, he's done his hamstring. Why? Because he was doing a pressing exercise in Dubai. Now, listen, I don't know. Maybe that could have been standard. Maybe that could have happened anyway. I don't know. But the pattern is the players that have played too much football and not been rotated, like Gabriel, Havertz and Saka, have all had hamstring surgery. And so I don't really think we can sit there and go, oh no, poor us. We had all these players missing when we haven't done anything to prepare for this. So I think I was being quite kind at the beginning, giving Arteta a little bit of praise for, you know what? I actually think we played well and you set them up well. And on the day, we could have won that game. I actually genuinely think we played pretty well on that night. But the bigger problem of the season and the same hurdle which we keep falling at, a lot of it rests at Arteta's feet, the Kroenke's feet. And do you know what, guys? I've got very little criticism for the players. They are fighting out there. They absolutely left it all out there. And do you know what? I feel that way about them most games. They are trying, but there's no substitute for quality. There isn't. If you don't have the talent, the quality, there's no substitute for that. There maybe isn't a one-off game like Real Madrid. We outfought them, and then our quality shone through, and the Mbappes and the Vinicius, they couldn't rise above that. But to win major honours, there's no substitute for that. You need talent and quality. Lo and behold, it's come back to bite us in the arse again. Those are my overarching thoughts. I've got a million other things to say, but we'll let Jordan come in now. But I just think it's the same old. And I can appreciate the efforts of the players, but the efforts of the club generally as a whole have let us down, and they set that tone. I say in January, but Turkish would say the summer, and it's hard to disagree with that.
Yeah, I think generally everyone's got some blame to hold here in terms of why we are where we are. Just quickly to respond to the Mikel Arteta quote after the match. I mean, I don't want to start off with being perceived as defending him at all, but I interpreted it as potentially him saying, statistically, data-wise, the best team over the competition didn't go through to the final. I think he was saying we are statistically, and I think he's right, statistically, the better team over the competition of the two.
What stats is he using?
Over in terms of conceded goals scored, we finished third. But here's the thing.
Exactly, we finished third. Inter Milan conceded 3 up until the semi-final. Then they go on to score 7 across 2. Sorry, Joe. Sorry, it's not. It's
let me finish. But what I was going to say is, even if he's right, and Turkish, you might be correct. Even if he's right that statistically we were the best team over the competition, read the room. Read the room. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that, bro. Like, it doesn't matter. No one cares. It doesn't matter. Even if you're right, don't come with that, bro. No one wants to hear it. So even if he's correct in what he's saying factually, and Turkish, you're right to challenge that. Maybe even factually he's wrong. But let's say, without doing a fact check, let's say that factually he is correct. It's irrelevant. Doesn't matter. You're out.
And
Oh,
sorry, I'm so sorry
go on.
because I really agree with that. I just want to add to that also it sends such a bad message. I think when you're the manager, you're doing two things. Well, many things. You're giving your opinion. You're also considering what the players think. But you're also kind of in that moment, the spokesperson for the club in the wake of a bad result and a bad moment in our season. And it's kind of your opportunity to get a message out, if not to rivals watching and other teams, then at least to the fans. And I saw your reaction, Turkish, where you basically you did a mock press conference answer. And your point, it was so true. Essentially, what would have been so wrong with Mikel Arteta, even if he really believed everything he said, which was statistically we were this, blah, blah, which I don't agree with, but let's say he was right. What is wrong with coming out and lifting the standards in your answer there? Do you know what I mean, Jordan? Like there was an opportunity to come out and go, no.
It's not good enough.
Arsenal Football Club been knocked out the semi-finals of the Champions League, and we are all gutted, and we need to look at why.
But there's
What's
a pattern.
wrong with ever coming with that?
You know what? I agree with you totally, but there's a pattern. Mikel Arteta's strategy for these sorts of situations is he thinks about his players first. He thinks about how can I keep my players on side? How do I want to keep their spirits high because I need them to go again. Whereas, and normally I probably wouldn't even disagree with that strategy, right? You need your players to be with you, play for you. On this occasion, the fans, bro, you're talking to the fans. You're not talking to Bukayo Saka, William Saliba. You're talking to the fans, and the fans don't want to hear that. The fans want to hear we're gutted, we're disappointed, it's not good enough, we've got work to do, and we'll come again. Walk out. The fans don't want to hear, oh, but we were the better team, and they don't want to hear that, man. They don't want to hear it. So I'm with you, but he's done it before. His strategy seems to be in a defeat or knocking out of a competition, I need to say something that makes my players feel like the gaffer's got my back and the gaffer's with me. We're going to go again. And like I said, most of the time, I'm not mad at that. Last night, no. On the game, I know we're going to dissect the game and look forward as well, but just my kind of general thoughts. I thought the first 15, 20 minutes were everything that we needed to do. We were aggressive. We won first balls. We won second balls. We should have scored a couple of goals. And I never normally watch your stream during the watch along, guys, James, but I had you guys on in the background, and I heard Laurie was saying we got to score, and I agree. When you're on top, you have to score. I mean, I'd argue two. You got to score one. You got to score one. And guys, you know the thing for me that's most disappointing. On the last podcast, I made this long rant about heart. PSG's heart. Test their heart. Let's see if it is a new PSG. We never did that. We can chat about the quality. We can chat about the tactics. Fading after half an hour. All that is true and relevant. But I just was disappointed that we never actually, because I'll be real, PSG are a brilliant football team. But when I look at Inter Milan, I see a team that talent-wise are nowhere near Barca, nowhere near PSG, maybe not even near Arsenal. But you know what Inter have got? In America, they call it chutzpah. Inter Milan have got something that we ain't going down. We ain't going down. Now, you could argue they've got more experienced players, more senior players. All right, whatever. But I watched that game, and I just thought to myself, that is a team that has got heart. You're not beating us. I'm not sure PSG have that, but we'll never know. You know why? We never tested it. And I just think if Bukayo Saka scores that goal, we win. I'm convinced. If Bukayo Saka scores that goal, they crumble.
What you think the second it would have made it 2-2 in
the one over the bar, the one the open
goal.
The
second 2-2.
He scores that, we win.
We would have been in a great position.
They crumble because I'm not convinced this PSG team have got it there, but we'll never know. But it's another competition we've been knocked out of. You know, the season's effectively over. I don't know, man. Everything's been said. The key word I'm hearing in the last 24 hours is progress. And maybe we'll get to progress in a bit. Maybe this is the part of the pod where we're dissecting the actual game. But I agree with Lee. I thought Martinelli, the flirter in the first half, was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I thought he would. That is the flirter I want to see, beating his man 2 or 3 times, getting second half faded. I'm not as convinced as you are, James, about the whole tired thing. I think that there's an element of tiredness and overplaying players. I just wonder if it's these players aren't built to go 90 minutes or 80 minutes at this level when it really matters. I'm not sure if we've got enough of those players that when the talent isn't there, going back to the whole Inter Milan point, they've got that something that makes up the difference in lack of talent. I'm not sure they're built that way at that level under that pressure to really give us an hour, to give us 70 minutes. And one of the I've got many things to say, but I'll make one final point. One thing disappointed me towards the end of the game. We're trying to chase a goal, and I forgot who it was. I think it was Calafiori. Was arguing with a PSG player. Yeah,
he bulldozed him over.
He was fouled, and I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
what are you doing? And then Saka got a yellow card for dissent. I'm like, why are you arguing with the referee? The free kick's been given, harsh or not. Get on with the game.
We need to go. Yeah, it's true.
And it might not feel like a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but these are small things. I'm thinking to myself, it's attitude, it's intelligence. If we get one goal, even with 3 minutes to go, we've got a chance. But these guys are arguing with players, fighting with referees. I'm like, what? So that pissed me off. But listen, it's another disappointment. Over the course of the competition, I think the 2 best teams are in the final. I think Inter Milan have been the best team over the whole competition. I think PSG have been the best team in 2025. So you've probably got the 2 best teams in the final. I like to see the best teams in the final and the best team win it. So there's a fairness. I think the right team went through. We've got work to do, though, guys. We've got work to do. So much work to do.
How do we get here?
I don't know about you, Turkish, where you use it different, but coming out with the fans, because we had to sit in there for an hour and all that. Like, obviously, you didn't have to do that, but we're standing there. There's a lot of and there are hardcore fans going. I'm not saying that fans that don't go. I'm just talking about the fans that are going and all that. They're getting fed up. They're getting fed up.
I'm glad you're saying that.
Say again?
I'm glad you mentioned it, because I was going to mention that on this pod, because a lot of people on the internet like to say match-going fans don't think like this, to protect their argument a bit. Trust me, match-going fans, a lot of them are feeling away. But yeah, sorry, Lee.
No, I just think like there's a frustration now in what's going on. I didn't hear the comments until like we got back to the apartment about 2:30, and I just laughed and said, "Oh, that's a joke. He ain't said that really, But how can I say it? Like, there's a frustration in it, like, and I know you might think this is silly, but someone messaged me that's very, very like pro the club and all that, like read the room Arsenal, and they brought out new merch today.
No
way. It's a bit silly.
A whole new line as well. A whole new line.
He's just gone out in the Champions League.
They accidentally released the Champions League final line, the Munich line that they forgot to cancel.
Let's
have a little look.
And you know what? I'm going to say a couple of things about Arsenal.
Shit, they did.
A couple of things about Arsenal that like a lot of fans yesterday, that you had to go and get the tickets, right? You had to go to the hotel, get your ticket, show your ID, and get the ticket. They're not asking the fans how to do this, because what was happening yesterday, lots of fans that go week in, week out were having to pay over £1,000 to watch that game yesterday in the away end. What was happening was people were going over there by Eurostar for £100 or £200, collecting the ticket and then selling it for £1,000, £2,000 and going home and making money. But the club don't listen to what the fans are saying. All they done yesterday by doing that, only 2,000 tickets, was just made it so much more profitable for the touts. You know what I mean? So much more profitable for the touts. There's kids in the away end yesterday, and I'm not having a go at that. I'm just saying, like, but you're telling me that they've got 55 points or more to get those tickets is not happening. You know what I mean? Like, the club have got to listen to fans somewhere along the line. You know, yes, it was a nice gesture giving you a scarf at the end of it, but at the end of the day, experience
was it a
is
nice
now.
gesture? Even that's out of touch. You wear that in the wrong area in Paris during the match day, you'll get that scarf wrapped around your neck.
Yeah, well, there was that. I get that. But what I'm saying, Turkish, is like a lot of fans yesterday, just not just about the performances and what's going on and everything like that. It's the whole shebang. It is the underappreciation that they feel like, you know what I mean? Like, there is a lot of the way you get treated away games and everything like that. The lack of care for the fan base. And listen, I'm not going to buy that merch. I'm not even going to look at it. But like, to do that, there's you know, come on, read the room. I know you might think it's petty and all that, like, but we're under the hammer as it is at the moment. You know, I mean, it's battens down. We're getting. You know, it's a tough time to be an Arsenal fan at the moment, like, you know, because of what's gone on this season. Like, you know, we're getting bombarded. I've had Spurs, you know, like, you know, messaging me, like, one of my mates just messaged me today, just about 10 minutes before we come on, like, you know, Champions, a European final's not for everyone. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so we're getting it, and there's nothing you can do. You just got to take it. But I don't mind taking it if there's something at the end of it. But I just think at the end of the time that it's give. Come on, give us a bit back, like, you know what I mean? Like, take. Give us something back. Just give us something. You know what I mean? There's a lot of fans generally complaining about, you know, they can't get into the Emirates at the moment, like, you know, and I get it all and everything like that. I get, you know, I don't want to go down there, but at the end of it, I actually feel physically and mentally drained coming home today. And you meet people on the coach, you know, on the train on the way home, and they're feeling the same. I don't know how you guys are feeling at Wembley in the box park and watching it at the moment, but you know, it's a tough gig at the moment, like, you know. Well, I love going and watching the Arsenal and everything like that, but it's not been enjoyable this year at all for many reasons. You know, the European trips have been not nice this season because of what they're trying to do to you and all that, like, you know. And don't tell me, you know, that's just to say about it. I'm just so disappointed in the club, and I something's got to give in this summer. Like, and I'm going to tell you this now. I'm going to tell you this now from a reliable source. Yes, we'll go big for a striker. Yes, we'll go big in for that. But there will be a casualty. And if there is, guys, a casualty, I'm going to be, I think I could be done, boys, with it. Because this shouldn't be happening.
Depends who it is.
Well, you can guess who it is.
William.
No, Saliba.
It's one of two.
Gabriel Saliba.
Gabriel or Saliba. That's what I've been told. It's one of them two. If a big offer comes in, that will fund other things. And if it does, boys, I'm sorry. That is a mess. Like, that's reliable, good source telling me that yesterday. If that's going to happen, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. Like, I'm depressed enough as it is, but I want to go into next season with everybody there, plus more. Not having to fund. We've been doing that for 20 years. You know what I mean? And you're going to do it again when we're that close to winning the league? Seriously, is that what's going to happen? That could
Well, if you tell us, It'll tell us everything we need to know about the Cronkies and
Oh,
how
we
much
know.
the ambition really stretches for
You know.
everyone at the club. Because you don't have a go for 2-3 years when there's a bit of a rise, and then there's a bit of momentum, and then decide, well, now it's sell to buy. Now it's, well, if you want a big player, we're going to sell a big player. So that would tell us a lot. You talk about Lee not enjoying football as much. I think there's kind of 3 reasons. The first and obvious one is that Arsenal aren't winning as many games. That's always going to play a part. The second one we talked about as recently on the pod is football fatigue. Won't go into that too much. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I do think that's a big part of it. There's just relentless football. When I say relentless football, it's not just the amount of footballs being played. It's the amount on social media. It's the amount of content on social media. It is just relentless football. It never ends. That skit that was done 20 years ago rings more true today. Who was the comedian who did it? Do you remember walking around the pitch sort of saying the football's on, this game versus that, or whatever? There's a comedian who did it. Anyway, that is just, I completely resonate with that. The third thing is the football we play. The type of football we play isn't energizing for fans. You can accept football that puts safety first, that is based off rigidity and structure and defensive principles, if it gets you to your goals. When it doesn't, really difficult to watch. And the problem with Arsenal at the moment is we've moved away from the football of 22-23. I think we could all understand the tweak. But even last season, guys, make no mistake about it, we weren't boring. Last season, we played some brilliant football. This season, at any given opportunity to go left or right, there's a choice. Arteta has, unfortunately, and I rejected this back in October when Jamie Carragher was saying it, but I was wrong. He has chosen pragmatism. He has chosen not to chase PSG in the final 20 minutes of a game because there's a second leg and he doesn't want to go further behind. He has chosen to bring Raheem Sterling off away in Bournemouth because we get a red card. He's ultimately played with fear, maybe. And Arsenal, it's not really been. Listen, I didn't grow up on an Arsenal that won games, but I mean, Arsenal were not. We attacked, we got on the ball, whatever, and that, when you start to lose the things that make you love football in other ways, right? What gets you off your feet? Goals, wins, sure, but players, entertainment, 1-2s, great football, sequences, passing sequences, domination, electric, exciting football. When you lose that as well, it becomes a slog when the wins aren't there, and that's unfortunately what I think is happening to a lot of fans right now.
I only saw that whole Arteta video before the first leg. I only saw that today,
No, the one when he's looking down the camera and
Yeah, because me, I avoid this stuff because I know what the club's about on socials, especially. So I don't watch for it. I only saw that today.
Same with me, Turkish.
And the last line he said was, "We're counting on you." Yeah, so it's okay for him to say that, right? But we're fucking counting on you. But some fans will make me feel away for putting that pressure on. But it's okay for him to say it to the fans. Kick every ball with us. No fuck. I don't understand. The guy's Spanish, and historically, Spanish people play quality football. The guy's played with Okocha and Ronaldinho, 2 of the greatest artists. And the guy's managed Aguero and Aubameyang. How are we in this position?
He's worked under Pep and Wenger.
Exactly. And David Moyes, where maybe we start leaning towards maybe his favourite dad of the lot. Because it's more reminiscent of that than anything. And even, to be honest, David Moyes at Everton doing it is very different for Arsenal. My whole team with playing this football, and James, you know this, win something. I don't need to be entertained week in, week out. I'm not like when Jordan said, he wants to win 1-0s, win, tight games, be that resilient side. As much as Chelsea used to make me sick because they took over from us in that Jose era, they had a style of play that won them games and won them trophies. Diego Simeone, he done it with Inzaghi, might be about to do it. Second Champions League final in a matter of years and predominantly defensive style football. But then don't turn around and then say that, make it fans, we count on you. So after that match, the rhetoric is all about the fans. Because it was all about the fans. Oh, you didn't do enough. But Arteta and the club made it about, we got our own tifo. We're going to pull that down. So out of touch. I'm just using these examples to say out of touch. Bad feeling in the tummy.
And also out of touch in terms of like, I don't think they've always quite understood what like triggers a fan reaction. I think 2 years ago they had us, like the club, everything Arteta was saying, maybe the messages that were coming out, Zinchenko, popping his head out the roof, outside the Tollington going crazy. Like they had us, yeah. But I think that was energized not just by wins, but by some of the football we were playing. So like it sparked an energy from us, and there was a synergy between the fans and the players. Electric football, goals, excitement. It wasn't just winning; it was the way we were kind of going about it. We kind of fueled that. The Ashburton Army, who I think have had their allocation cut massively, I think, in the last few years. And now there's, complaints about ticketing all the time, the ballot system. I'm no expert on it. I'm just repeating what others have been saying. Then the football's got a bit worse. But when you go another year without a trophy, let's put it into this perspective, guys. And let me phrase it this way. We've had a team worthy of winning trophies since the 22-23 campaign. Do we all agree? That was the first season where I went, this is a team genuinely capable of winning trophies. Forget the Europa League before. I mean, we were capable of winning that, but forget all that, right? Let's just take from when Arsenal were aside, playing football, who had players on the pitch, I went, they can lift silverware. 12 competitions we failed to win.
Well, if I can just jump in.
12.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, guys, 12. We've entered 12 competitions. 4 Premier Leagues, 4 FA Cups, 4 Carabao Cups, the Europa League, 2 Champions League. And we haven't won any of them at the level we're meant to have been these last 3 years. Not one of them. United can boast 3 finals, maybe a third trophy. Newcastle have picked one up. Tottenham have gone to a final. Chelsea have played multiple finals. Liverpool played multiple finals. Man City have played multiple finals. We haven't. Have we played a final? We haven't played a final.
No.
Fuck winning it. We haven't played a final.
And
in 9 of those.
And James, you've nailed it. And that for me is the big issue. Lots of Arsenal fans I've been speaking to today are fuming about, he's got to go. He can't win a Premier Champions League. I'm not in that camp because a Premier League is hard to win. You're having to beat Klopp and now Slot or Guardiola. That's not easy. A Champions League. Only a handful of teams have won the Champions League in the last 8 to 10 years. It's hard to win. My bro, pick up a League Cup. A couple of FA Cups, as you said, get to some finals. get to some finals. And the problem he's now got is the longer he goes year in year out without winning a cup. Now I know Turkish, and I think Leeds in this camp as well. Of the League Cup and the FA Cup isn't enough, right? I this year would have taken a domestic cup and a strong title challenge. I would have taken that this season. But the more and more you go on without winning a trophy, I'm sorry, even people like me, the League Cup then becomes not enough. The FA Cup then becomes not enough. You've got to then win one of the big 2. You're just putting more and more pressure on yourself. If in this run of no Prems and no, let me ask you, Turkish, in this 6 years, if he had won no Prems and no Champions Leagues, but he picked up 2 FA Cups, 1 League Cup, and lost 1 other final, would you be a bit more appeased
2
over
FA
that
Cups,
6 years?
2 FA Cups, 1 League Cup, and a final.
And a final defeat.
But honestly, I'd be exactly the same place I am now.
Okay, that's fair. I thought that someone like you,
I'd be much happier because we have
silver. Yeah, I'll be a little bit more.
I'd be way happier. I'll be honest.
I think most people would. There's no major trophy in there, but at least you're ticking off a couple of minor trophies and as 4 finals in 6 years. That's something that I think can buy you a bit more time. My bro, you got to pick up something. You got to win the big one now. Otherwise, where do you go?
And also because it's difficult. Like it's very difficult to win these. To win the Premier League and the Champions League. So if you're at least doing your thing elsewhere, like I can stomach PSG were better. I can stomach Man City were Man City this season. Not many.
I can still stomach that, James. I can still stomach them. Last season. Look at last season. I don't think there was much more we could have done. You know what I mean? You got to hold your hands up. That was unbelievable what Man City done. But what has happened to me, and I can only speak about myself, is that this club, Arsenal Football Club, had me in their palm of their hands for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's
They
what I'm
could
saying.
do whatever they wanted to do, like, you know what I mean? I was there, whatever. They're losing me now.
Yeah,
I had a massive love for the players and everything there. Now I'm starting to go off the players a little bit, like not by any fault of their own. I feel that the connection is not the same. And yesterday I felt sorry for some players. Other players, do you know what? Right, I don't feel sorry for Mikel Arteta.
no,
I don't feel for anything for him. You brought all of that. You brought all that on, but I feel for certain players in that football team. I feel for Declan Rice,
Julian Timber,
yes, definitely. Saka, Saliba.
Yeah.
I feel for them players.
But you know my problem with Rice, right? And this is where if you're not okay, maybe it is real. Maybe it is real, and maybe it's not real to me. But some of his quotes this season, just shut up. Like the whole real fans remember that quote?
Yeah.
And then yesterday he came out with this whole season, we've dealt with 5-6 of our best players out. Now I know it comes from the manager, but come on. Declan, you can't be saying these things. Just don't say anything then. Come on, because those quotes have been used as well. The whole real fans, match-going fans thing he said months back, and now it's all the same narrative. It's to protect the club. It's the positive side of things. Come on, man. I'm with you. I feel sorry for a lot of the players, and I'm not proud of that PSG second leg. I'm not because where was the heart? Forget the build-ups and the dominance and the second. Where was the fucking heart? That's when I'll feel proud. And it's not about winning. When we lost to Barcelona in the Champions League final, I was worst moment, but I was proud of them. 10 men for the majority of the game, 1-0 up from halftime. Last 15 minutes, they came back into it through a couple of substitutions. It's not about winning before people in the comments or people listening. He's just here to win. It's not about that. You come from an era where you bleed, sweat, tears, everything for the badge, for the club. Now do it for the money if it's not for the badge of the club, because they wasn't being paid like these men are being paid now. But again, it's not on the players, it's on the manager for sucking all of that out of them.
Do you not think the
anger, rage, and frustration?
I just want to say, I know what you're saying about feeling proud and all that, like, you know what I mean? I thought if you go, you was there yesterday, that was a real test with atmosphere and everything like that. And I felt that the players turned up. But when it really mattered to turn up was at the home game when there was pressure. We was 1-0 down. There was a little bit of pressure off of us yesterday. Well, we're not, man, we might not win. When it really mattered, that is where we didn't turn up. And that is why I'm falling out of love with these players, because when it really matters, they don't turn up. And that's on the manager and that's on the players. And I honestly, genuinely, I'm not putting up with it for another season of going to big games and not turning up, boys. I'm not going to be putting up with it. Like, you know what I mean? There's got to be a change of culture, a change of coach, not necessarily the top coach, but something's got to change in that group.
I don't want to see Jova's face again. I don't want to see it again. Fade to black and do your thing in the training ground. That's done now. I don't want to see that no more. Things like that, fuck all of that.
Do you guys think that in the same way that we in English football mock Spurs for being Spursy, poor mentality, they'll Spurs it up, all that sort of stuff?
We have built a shit name for ourselves in the 20 years we've been in Emirates, if that's the question you're going to ask. We've built a very shit name for ourselves. That's more reminiscent to Tottenham than it is Liverpool, City, Chelsea, or any of those that have won major honours in the last 10, 15 years. We've done damage to our reputation.
That's not what I was gonna. Well, I did a TalkSport Arsenal show today, and I asked a question to Julian Laurens, who's a French football expert and an Arsenal fan, PSG fan, and I said to him, in the same way that we look at Spurs as the perennial bottlers, there's an issue at Spurs. The mentality is not quite right. Even when they got a good team, they can't get over the line. I asked him, do you think is that how Europe looks at Arsenal? Good team, some good players, good history, but I'd rather draw them than Inter. I'd rather draw them than PSG. I'd rather draw them than Barcelona. When it comes down to the crunch, does Europe look at Arsenal as good team, but they haven't got that thing mentally? We know they're going to Arsenal it up. And I wonder if there's a mentality thing that we need to, as a club and as a fan base, address. We can buy players, but is there a culture that enables? We see it United. They've signed some good players in the last 10 years, but what happens? Because the culture and the environment does something to them. I guess I'm asking you three, is there a mentality problem at Arsenal that makes good players underachieve, or is it just a quality thing? Is it simple as quality? If you put Isak, I don't know, Zubamendi and another top player in that 11, we win yesterday. Is it as simple as just better players?
For me, the football, you could argue against that. But the quotes from certain players and the manager across this season, you can argue for that heavily. So I think mentality is an issue. You see it on the pitch. I wouldn't say you saw it on the pitch against PSG or Real Madrid. I'd say tactically the risk-averse nature of Mikel Arteta is why it's essentially I'm not proud of that performance, because till the last minute it's all, you know, X's and Y's and fucking Milky Ways and solar systems and all of this nonsense. Everything apart from get it in the fucking box. Put Tierney on. You got big men in the box. Get it in the fucking box. Yeah. Everything but that. So yes, there's a mentality issue, but the manager is at the you know, the top of all that, coming out with bullshit like he comes out with. The guy's a liar. Anita asked him, you know, about the PSG game. First of all, congratulate. Tell me, is this a man that's, you know, gracious? Because PSG, well done to them. Fans, best fans I've seen. Yeah. A few of them even knew I was an Arsenal fan, and they still looked after me, and they still made sure I was good, regardless of what the result was going to turn out to be, because a few of them was nervous. First 10, 15 minutes, a few of them was talking to each other like, yo, like, you know, this is looking sticky. First of all, congratulations to PSG. They're in the final. It's not about merit. It's actually what the scoreline shows. Oh, that's our manager. Smart guy, out of this world manager. It's not the merit that counts. It's the scoreline. What? He's gone too far in this XG business. He better rip down them papers from the walls and stuff that he's got, because he's talking absolute nonsense now. And then she questioned, this game is about the boxes, he says. We've heard that before. He literally said the game is about boxes last year and the year before that. The same thing. You've bought 6 keepers, Mikel. 6 keepers. So what are you saying about Raya then? Because Raya made a penalty save at 1-0. So it's all good and well saying Donnarumma won it for them. That's a slight dig on Raya, because Raya also kept us in this game. You've bought Raya after buying 5 more keepers. That's one of the boxes, right? And the other box, you ain't bought 1 striker. So in one box, you bought 6 keepers. In the other box, you haven't bought 1 striker. And then you're going to tell us about boxes at the end of 3 seasons in a row. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think, sorry, Lee, one second. I think it was clear who won the game for them. I just spoke to them and they had the same view. Anita tries to question him on that. He tries to ride it. Brilliant journalism, Anita. Well done. She stops, lets him continue, then ask him, who told you that? A few of them. Yeah, all of them. Is it a few of them? Is it all of them? Or is it none of them? Mikel. Liar. Like you lied about best owners. Like you lied about light squad is what you want to do. But in December, everyone knows it's light. First 2 weeks of the window, arguing with Charles Watts and other journalists, questioning you about the need for a striker. You argued that, Mikel. But when Jesus got injured after getting knocked out the FA Cup, Zubamendi news breaks, summertime, Zubi. And then Arteta comes out, we need a striker. We need a striker. Market opportunities. Kvara was a market opportunity. So was Asensio. So was Rashford. You know, there was market opportunities there. You didn't take them? Cool. So it's on you. Don't talk about both boxes when it's on you. 6 keepers, no strikers. Make sense of that, Mikel.
You're right. The other thing he's got to do, he's got to rip up like whatever game plans he come out with in the summer, that has got to change now. He has got to get the striker in. That's the first thing that happens. Well, I don't want to see no merch. I don't want to see no kit coming out and whatever. As soon as this season's over, That's the striker we're pinning things on like. And I did like what I see today is that they're also going for Liam Delap as well as a backup striker. Thank you, because you don't need just one, you need two.
Don't
You
jump the gun
need
yet.
two.
Why do you think it comes out today, Lee? Like
Well,
Zubamendi
I
came out
don't
after
know.
Man United,
You
and
know
now
what I
it's
mean? Like,
shaky.
but Turkish, they cannot continue to keep. This is what I'm saying. They've had you, they've had me there. They cannot continue to keep doing this and then not delivering.
They
Because
can,
there
though.
is going to be a time when you're going to go, enough's enough now. Like, so I
I'm with
expect that
James,
to
they
happen.
can.
They can,
and I
though.
expect to be entertained at my football club next year. Right, that's
Lee.
the first and foremost. I expect to be sitting on my expensive seat, and I don't want to be bored the arse off of all season, because that is what I have been this season. Right, I have been bored watching Arsenal. It's been disgustingly boring. I now want to be entertained for my money's worth, like every other fan. And then you make sure you get over the winning line. And if you don't, you're going to lose this fan base.
Lee, they can do it again. They can go another window. They can go another season. That, I tell you what, if there's one thing I've learned this season, there's one thing that little old James has learned about Arsenal Football Club this year, is they absolutely can take the piss even more. And I learned that in January, man. That was that window we knew was bad. It's aged worse. Somehow, from what I described as one of the worst moments I can remember in Arsenal history, not signing, because it wasn't spoiled brat James and spoiled brat Arsenal fans going, we want a player. It wasn't that. It was us looking at players in dire need, in desperate trouble, with an injury list mounting like you wouldn't believe in the forward line, and the club with still, I believe at the time, a Carabao Cup second leg to go, a Champions League run in, and we were within 5 to 7 points of Liverpool. The title race wasn't done. It wasn't worth the gamble. They decided, thank you. Thank you for all the money you've spent. Thank you for constantly showing up. Thank you for constantly trying to believe and support this team. But we're not really willing to take the risk on this season. And that set that was as low as I've seen a moment for this club. And it's so crazy. I'm talking about it's nothing on the pitch. It was a fucking January transfer window. And I thought that the lack of addressing anything, any position, forget just a striker, that is why I go into this summer, yes, maybe somewhat delusionally, still thinking they will, out of desperation, pull out a big signing or two. But I'm not confident they're going to do enough. I'm not at all confident they're going to do what they have to do.
Let me come in there,
because they constantly underdeliver.
Let me come. You're right. I mean, I've been speaking to some of my journo pals who are a bit closer to the club affairs than I am, and the moment reports are that Arsenal are going to go big this summer. I'm not. I'm not. I mean, I've got no reason to think they're lying, and like I said, they're closer to the club than I am. So if that's what they're going to be reporting, okay. I'm just not convinced anybody this summer is going to go big. I think the days of clubs spending 200 mil, I think those days are done. I think we'll sign players, but this idea, there's this famous phrase, war chest, and also going to bring in 4, 5, 6 top players. I'm just not convinced it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
But also, Jordan, they could do a lot of the work, but that won't be enough. It won't be enough to do a lot of the work.
No,
you need to do everything.
Yeah.
What's crazy? I mean, how do I sound saying this? But I mean it. They could sign a striker, a left winger. They could sign Gyökeres, Nico Williams, Zubamendi, a backup goalkeeper, and I will be sat here like a spoilt little twat. I'll be sat here going, "Where's the 10? Where's the backup for Erdegaard? Where's the creative move?" I will be, because they have kicked the can down the road. They've constantly, no, next week, next Windows problem, next Windows problem, next Windows problem, next Windows problem. And they've now built this enormous shopping list that, I'm sorry, I don't think any Arsenal fan should be prepared to compromise on. There are serious areas that need addressing. And the club better do it. And if they
And
do
that's
the
the
other
thought.
4 amazing signings, I'll still be pissed if they didn't do the 5th, because it has been this many years of not quite ever doing enough. Timber, Rice, Havertz, but we needed Kudus. They didn't do it. Last summer, Marina Cafro, cool depth, but we really need a bit of a star forward, a striker or a left wing on one of them. Then we addressed the one that they didn't do it. So now in this summer, they've added 2 areas there. Vieira didn't work. Smith Rowe got sold. Waneri looks like he's going to play in the forward line. You need a 10 backup. You need someone else. But they didn't want to add that in previous windows. We've called for it. Sorry, I will not compromise this summer. I won't do it.
And that's
Nor
all
should you.
before you do the deals for Saka, Saliba, and Rice.
I forgot about those.
Listen. This situation, I mean, if we do not get it right this summer, right? If we do not get it right this summer and we go another year without, the one, which is a Premier League, and then whatever happens, Champions League, you can't really predict it. Let's say this happens, right? What do you think happens next year if another trophy this season and then we move on from Mikel? What do you think the new manager comes into? He comes into Saliba, Gabriel, potentially Saka in the last year of their contract. Potentially.
Yeah, Slot had that and sorted it out. I'm not worried about that.
But Slot came into a side that's got winners and they won again.
Yeah, well, listen, Arsenal, there's no compromise. They've got guys. They've got to do it in the summer, and they've got to win trophies next season. They can't. They can't afford to do what they've done.
They're definitely
I'm
looking
seriously saying it. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm that this club will lose the fan base.
If you're saying that the reliable source and Gabriel or Saliba, like you said, that says it all, because they're probably looking at the Trent situation, saying we don't want to be left there, and instead of thinking let's win with this player for the next couple of years. Because if you ask me now, if Saliba, if I knew Saliba's cousin or something, and the cousin said to me, listen, it's either he sees out the last 2 years but gives his all, or we sell him this summer. 2 years, please. Because I don't give a fuck about 70, 80 or 120 mil. What, like James said, it's always underwhelming what we do on the other side. I don't feel like it's going to be a Coutinho one where the money's reinvested and then, we fill all the gaps, and then it'll be into the pocket somewhere. 100%. It'll be most of it into the pocket. Now, that whole, it's going to be a big window. It's always going to be a big window. Guess what's big? To me, 5 million, 1 million is big. So what's big? It's all relative to the person reading that. Big, 50 mil. That's big, isn't it? Isn't it big for all 4 of us here? 50 mil. We'll all take that, right? So what is big? I'll tell you what big is. 300 M's. It's about time we did that. We sat aside 2006 onwards to see Chelsea doing that and start, winning things that we've never won. Then City come in, do the same thing. Whilst United are doing the same thing all along, even through their shit time. Stars, they're buying stars. It didn't work. Huh?
In January, didn't Man City spend 200 million in January?
Yep.
So there you go.
But
300 has got to be done. They won't spend 300 though,
and
it should be 300 net spend before they try and pull that one out. It should be after the facts, but they won't.
And also, 300 million spent on best in class, please. Please don't give me 50 million. This guy looks like he's got potential. And I know people in the comments will be saying, well, who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Not my job. I've made many a video talking about players I quite like. Some of them end up being shit. Some of them end up going to other clubs and playing quite well. It's not my job. Okay. Big old department, the scouting department. Okay. A lot of money at that football club. Not my problem. I would like us to get this right. They have kicked the can down the road for so long that there is so much pressure on this window, not just because of this season, not just because of the expectations we have, but because there has been such a build-up. I feel sorry already for the number 9 we signed. The pressure is enormous already because we've been wanting this for 2-3 years, and suddenly it's like, please be the answer. Please, you have to change it all, because that's probably what the club will do. They won't address all the other. If you address all the other areas, then really you should be adding 2-3 match winners. But I'm not convinced they will.
And you can, because again, remember the delicious January window. Remember that. It's another delicious window coming up. Gyökeres, bring him in. Rodrigo, bring him in. Arda Güler, bring him in. That's about 170 mil spent. Them 3 players.
Could even be alone.
That's what I'm bearing in mind. Loan with an option to buy. That's 3 game changers into the attack. Game changers, options, and that's 170 mil ish, which should still leave 100 and whatever for the midfielder, the backup goalkeeper, or whatever else is going on. Because this Garcia guy, apparently Villa are interested. So I don't know what's going on with that one. But why would you spend 20 however mil on another keeper to be better? The fine margin in one box again. What about the fucking the margin in the striker box ain't fine. Fucking gap as wide as anything.
The wickedest thing is, of our 4 front line, you could argue Bukayo Saka's the only one that should be starting next year if we want to win a Premier League title.
Yep.
Mate, 100%.
Yeah.
That you could argue that we need to replace, not replace.
You could argue, you could state factually. Sorry, I think you really could.
That's what we're saying. Rodrigo Gyökeres, they start next to Saka.
And I'm putting Odegaard in there as well. I wouldn't sell Odegaard, but you need to upgrade on Odegaard potentially. I've got a feeling, just a gut feeling. I've been thinking about Odegaard a lot this week. I think he'll have surgery this summer. I think there'll be surgery.
Maybe. A few people have kind of rumored that on Twitter.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I think the surgery. So you could need pretty much a whole new front line this summer.
Be really interesting what happens now with Odegaard. These 3 games are non-existent. We'll see what happens.
Okay, let's play a little exercise, just very quick. You know I like my little exercises. Okay, let's go through the Champions League semi-finalists. I'm going to read you out forwards. Actually, I'm going to read them. I'm going to say them off the top of my head. And you tell me if Martinelli and Trossard and Havertz and Jesus are better than these names I'm about to say. Marcus Thuram.
No.
Lautaro Martinez.
No.
Rafinha. Lamine Yamal. Let's just move on. Barcola. Doué. This is an interesting one. Gonzalo Ramos.
I mean, yeah, Havertz back.
Okay.
Kvaratskhelia.
No.
Oh my, that was the one.
Dembele. Ferran Torres.
Yeah, what are you meaning about? Cool.
Is he better than Arnold?
I know it's. I've got to say this, and in the defence of Saka and the defence of Martinelli,
Mediterranean.
We're playing without a striker at this moment in time. You know, what benefit is it for these? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, you can't.
Well, you're right. I
want to see Martinelli playing up front with a proper striker. I want to see Saka playing up with a proper striker. We ain't seen that many. We've got Marino. God bless him. He done his best yesterday. Like, you know what I mean? But he's not a striker. You know what I mean? He's not making the runs of a striker. He's not helping up those players.
You know what it is with I don't think Saka's included in this, but let's look at Martinelli.
No, Saka wasn't in my.
No,
Saka wasn't the point.
Wasn't.
Saka, for me, is top 3 or 4 in that.
But let's look at Martinelli, man. We haven't seen. I mean, we have seen enough to know that. I mean, Kvaratskhelia is a good example, right? We know he's on another planet to Martinelli, right? He's done it with a striker and Osimhen out and out, and he's been doing it for 5 months. Even Dembele is not an out and out striker. Yesterday, I mean, the second leg they had no striker playing, and Kvaratskhelia still manages to cut in, produce a nice shot in off the post, and a few moments here and there as well. It's that Martinelli don't do this. Martinelli, said he had a great 45.
Midfield players that are playing at the top of their game. We've got a midfield player, our captain, that's nowhere near at the level he should be.
No.
What is it? You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, he played yesterday 90 minutes. And I'm a big fan of Martin Odegaard, but he's just not at the level that you need for that role. But he continues to play. That affects what goes forward in front of him. I'm sorry, like, you know, there's too many things, too many compartments that are not working.
So, Lee, I think watching Henrik Mkhitaryan, who we were desperate to let go of in the Emery era, so 6 years ago, watching him running around against that Barcelona midfield and help guide Inter Milan to a Champions League final should be a lesson to all of us that you don't write anyone off. And I know that my whole list exercise was a bit facetious. The point I was trying to make is look at the quality of forwards others have got. I sit in between what you're saying, which is basically don't write anyone off. With better coaching, some tweaks here and there, you'd be amazed how much the levels of certain players can go up.
Do you know,
but
James?
There is also a fundamental. I hear Turkish's point. I've done a lot of defending for Martinelli. And sometimes I look at certain players and go, But when are you just going to thrive beyond the environment, like Saliba, Rice, Gabriel do, like Saka does? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. But you have a look at these players and forget about anything. I remember watching. It was a fantastic game of football. You know what I mean, like Barcelona in Milan. It was an unbelievable game of football to watch that. It was fantastic. Someone scores and he brings up his stats. I don't know who it was. 12 goals in 14 Champions League games. There was another one, like 8 goals in 12 Champions League games. None of our lot have got anywhere near that sort of figure. Nowhere near it. And then you've got your manager going, we're the best. You've got nowhere near it.
Lee, you mentioned Marino just a minute ago. It's so embarrassing. We're in the Champions League semi-final and Marino is our centre forward. It's really
he worked his socks off yesterday.
No. I'm not
played quite well. I don't know if it was just me. I thought he did all right.
He did. I'm not having a go at him.
I'm not having a go at him. I'm just saying, you look at the caliber of attackers the other 3 teams have got, and we're rocking up with Marino.
Yeah, it's not funny, you know what I mean? And we had a choice. That is our choice. The other thing, guys, we had 4 players on that bench yesterday that have not played a minute, a second of Premier League football. And they're on the bench in a Champions League semi-final. And you might turn around and say you've had injuries. Yeah, but every team has injuries. And we've not delved into that, like, you know.
We had the injuries before January.
Of course we did. And that's the thing. We had the injuries before January.
We had them.
We went into a game, right, in February. We've talked about this today, right?
I'm going mad.
Without Saka, without Martinelli, without Gabriel Jesus, without Sterling, without Marino in a game in the league in February. And that, guys, is not acceptable.
What do you guys think? Sterling,
17-year-old Ranieri, and we've just gone through a transfer window. And if you look at our form since January, it has not been good enough.
What'd you say, James?
Out of 10, Sterling. How good a signing.
I hope somebody.
He didn't even come on the pitch. Sorry, I'm just. Can I add?
Where was he yesterday, James? Did he come on? We're 1-0 down, 2-0 down in a Champions League semi-final. What did he contribute?
Lee, I need listeners to know it's 1:45 in the morning at the time. This is probably the latest we've ever recorded a pod. I am delirious right now. Like everyone's getting it. Like. I'm so pissed with this team and the way this season's gone. For fuck's sake!
Just to bring it back to the game and where we are. Look, we're all really pissed off because we're still raw. You know, it's another trophyless season. Let's get these 3 games out of the way. Hopefully, qualify for the Champions League, and then we can really pick apart what we need to do in the summer because there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work. Mikel Arteta's got so much work to do. The fan base, you know, as Lee and I think Turkish alluded to, much the fan base want him out. They're done. I'm not there yet. I'm not there. I still believe in Mikel Arteta, but he's making it very, very hard for him to defend him. Look, if Mikel Arteta was fired tomorrow, I wouldn't be outraged by that. I wouldn't. But equally, I'm nowhere near asking for him to be sacked. But he's got work to do. He's got so much work to do. He has to change. He has to change. Hopefully, this Berta guy is going to be, because them guys might buck heads. Berta and Arteta might buck heads, but maybe we need that. Maybe we need that because we need to start effing some stuff up now. Because going into next season, City are gonna be this bad again. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool are gonna have Slot will have his own players coming in this season. We're gonna be in for a fight next year. Next year, I want the Prem. I want the Prem next year. But they've got to fix these injury issues. They've got to give us a squad that can compete across 4 competitions. They've got to go deep in the domestic cups. I want a brand of football. Lee started the show by saying he's bored of the football we're watching. The brand of football is important to me. There's a lot of work to do, man. I need players out. I need get rid of Tierney. I know Jorginho has been confirmed. He's going. Get those guys out and let's go again because right now the fan base they're not happy. They're not
I'd
happy.
even keep Tierney. Even that one's a strange one. I know you don't like him anymore, but to be honest, I don't give a fuck what Arteta likes right now. I've seen Tierney come on and offer something different from a left back position. Do you get it? So why not have him in the squad? Why not? Like, that's one player that could change it up and put balls into the box. He's our best crosser of the ball from open play.
I agree, but I think this with Tierney is, I just think consistently.
It's time. It's time.
And also, I just think injuries, when he's relied upon, he can't stay fit. He can't stay fit.
You know, on the Arteta in-out debate and all that, it's not just blind faith and like, you know, scared of change that makes me want to keep him. Because I think there's other great managers out there. I'm not even on this whole, well, who's out there? I think there's plenty. You know, I don't think that's actually something to worry about. My thing is more, when I look at how we played for parts of that game against PSG, that's what I find so confused about Mikel. Look, Mikel's got a lot of heat this pod, right? But I'm just like, Mikel, when it clicks, when we're playing the football that you want to play,
it's amazing.
It's great, but also it's heavily reliant on a top number 9 and top wide play. Why have you not wanted to add to that position? I'm so confused. Your game model relies so much on those two areas of the pitch delivering, more than it relies on a world-class box to box or a world-class creative midfielder or overlapping fullbacks. Your most attacking threat and like where you channel so much of our football is to the wide areas and to the striker. Why is it such an underinvested position? You'd think the way he sets us up to play, every window he'd want to add another and another and another and keep refreshing that position. It's where he bases all of our attacks. Get it to Martinelli, get it to Saka. We're going to control lots of games. We're not going to be super expansive. We're not going to have many chances, but the ones we do will be high XG ones, and we need our striker to be a killer. Is anyone else perplexed by this? Does anyone else not understand the correlation between the way he wants us to play and where his money's gone? Doesn't make any sense to me.
There's no understanding it. Even the whole flipping from what it was 2 years ago to what it's become. I know in between it, we had our best season numbers wise we've had for a very long time. But even that is, you know, in hand, we're looking back. It's strange to go from one completely different style to the other across 2 years. It's strange. Sorry,
Karen.
No, there's nothing. There's no soul.
Well,
no soul.
You know, I've seen Arteta even this season in what's been his worst season for a good 2-3 years. I've seen him outclass Ancelotti in Real Madrid. I know people won't reflect favorably on that PSG game. I think we lost. We deserved to lose. I think we made a decent account of ourselves, especially in that second game. I don't think we look like a team that didn't belong in the Champions League semi-finals. I think it's a well-coached side that still has a lot of promise, but I think we are just teetering on that. We are so close to that moment where Saliba's had enough, he's gone. You know, the fans have had enough, they turn. We're getting, because the more you don't get over the line, the closer you get. It's so funny, kind of the closer you are, and even if you remain close, you're kind of naturally falling away. I just think I'm there for just one more year to see what does he do when it's Gyökeres on the end of these opportunities, or Sesko or Watkins. Whoever the fuck they choose. You know, when it's Nico Williams who's banging, you know, who's 1-on-1 with the fullback. And what does having a Nico Williams do in the squad do for Martinelli when he has to come on? Because I bet you'll find his level goes up because there's better players around him, because there's now a better standard to get to, because you're not relied upon every single game. And then you find Arsenal start reserving their energies and playing with more kind of quality, because it's not all about chasing back all the time. You're suddenly dominating. You're now playing 70, 80 minutes of games in the opposition half. And then it's leading to less injuries. It can literally be like adding quality players. Yes, it's about the match-winning moments, but it can just lift every other area of your game. And I want to see how getting those quality players who can just, we can start looking at our 11 and going, yeah, we have players that go toe-to-toe with some of the best in Europe. If we can get some of that in the squad, Arteta tweaks a little bit. I think suddenly we're onto a winner. And for all the negativity and anger here, and I hear, and I've been a big part of it, I think we're as close to it all kind of falling apart as we are to it just suddenly clicking and boom, we're there.
But you know what it is, though, yeah? And this is where different sections of the fans need each other, right? Yeah? Like we need fans to sing their heart out and, you know, create the atmosphere, right? We need fans to hold them accountable, put pressure on them. Because I've just spoken about part of Mikel's molding in the last 5 years has been, you know, the love and the unwavering support from the fan base, and you know, every excuse is lapped up and you know, resaid and reshared around WhatsApp groups, and you know, protection of Mikel. It's pressure time, mate. Yeah, it's fucking pressure time, mate. None of your bullshit. None of that bullshit that you come out with this year, because now you've signed that fucking line to be the top 3 paid managers in the world. Yeah, deliver. This ain't nursery. This ain't bad feeling in the tummy. Oh, nice guys and all of that. That was the environment Wenger created. It wasn't a winning environment. Arteta's changed that to in a different manner, but it's still too nice. Rice has come out this season and said, maybe we're too nice. Let's stop making excuses for each other then. Come out and hold people accountable. What, someone's going to get hurt? Odegaard's receiving a bit of criticism. I'll tell you what. Bring Declan Rice out to an interview and let Declan tell everyone how good Odegaard is, because everyone loves Declan, right? Yeah, so Declan comes out. Yeah, he's a role model. Oh, he's a good captain. Oh, yeah. PR, the lot of it.
I also think, guys, you know what I mean? We are being negative and all that. Last season, I was going home and away, particularly away from home, and thoroughly enjoying myself, coming away, smashing teams left, right and centre. And I think that the manager, that's why I'm with it. He's got to have the summer, but he's gone too far one way. Bring it back, maybe just rein it in a little bit. Get to what you was last season with a little bit of what we had, a little bit of this season, and that is it for me. Like, you know, I'm at a stage where I feel like Jordan said it well there. If Arteta was to go, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered if he I'm not bothered if he stays at this moment in time. You just got to deliver, and if you're not going to deliver next season, then you just get out of here, like, you know what I mean? Because I tell you what, you've been ruthless with certain players in this football club over the time. Now you've got to get ruthless again, and if not, then the club have got to get ruthless to you. Simple as that now, like. And I'm sorry, that's how I feel now, like, you know. I'm not forgetting what he's done over the last few years, and he deserves to be given the chance, because he has put us back on the map. Now, whatever way you look at it, he's had 2 years in the Champions League, quarterfinals and semi-finals. That's not a bad record. Not a great record, but it's not a bad one. And listen, people will turn around and say in football you don't deserve chances and all that, like, you know. And you know, he's ruthless. But at Arsenal Football Club, they've always given their managers the chance. And, you know, it's not always been experienced managers, you know what I mean?
But Lee, you know my problem though, Lee, yeah? Man, no other, like, you know, club would have, you know, 15 years of Wenger's, you know, fall off over those years, right? We as fans were patient, we supported, we tried, we understood, we got it. Best players leaving, even to rival clubs. We went through that as fans. If I say what other big club has gone through that as a fan base, it'd be hard to, you know, because Man United have gone through obviously a downfall since Ferguson, but in a different way, right? And they've tried, failed. Whereas when we moved into the Emirates under Wenger post 2005-06, it became stale. There was no trying. It was just recycle. Best player out, couple new players in, resell in a few years. The same old bullshit. It's 5 seasons now of a man that hasn't won no league titles here or anywhere. 5 seasons. Would Man City wait 5 years for someone to win something? Would Man United wait 5 years for someone to win something? Hell, they just sacked someone after winning 2 trophies in 2 years. Would Chelsea wait 5 years? Would fucking Tottenham wait 5 years? Liverpool, would they wait 5 years? So we've already, as a fan base, in terms of big clubs, I know there's going to be fans of you know, clubs lower down the table or lower leagues and say, you know, you're entitled, all of this stuff. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is 5 years. 5 years without any credit in the bank, like Wenger did. 5 years. That's a lot, you know. We moved into the Emirates 2006. It's 2025.
Well, if we look
20
at his
years.
5 years,
20 years. And 5 of those years is Mikel. A quarter of the time is Mikel. So I'm sorry, pressure's on. No more
Well,
Mr. Nice Guy, Mikel. You as well. None of this, you know. Sorry, Jordan.
well, no. I'm cutting you off. I was going to say, but let's hold him accountable for his 5 years, right? And I'm going to say some unpopular things between now and the new season. And something that people are going to say, I'm going to like unpopular opinion. People keep banging on about, oh, he spent 750 mil, 800 mil. He's got to win a trophy. He's got to win a title. Let me tell you, 750 is not a lot of money. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. And I keep hearing it's a lot of money. It's not a lot. When you think of the 5 years, the overhaul, to win a title over 5 years, to overhaul a whole squad and win a league, catching up 2 clubs that had squads set with Klopp and Guardiola at the helm, it's not a lot. That gets you from 8th to 2nd. Now he's got to go again, starting this summer, to get from 2nd to champions. So also, I keep hearing this. He spent a lot of money. He spent 750 mil. It's not a lot of money. It's not. It sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. It's not a lot of money. Now they've got to back him to go to the next level.
What? Why do you think? Why do you think we've been so on Mikel this particular pod? I mean, it's an hour and 20 minutes in. I think it's fair to say that 98% of the conversation has been about Mikel.
Because,
you know, but and I want to hear what you have to say, John, but just very quick, because there's the Cronkies. I'm reflecting on whether I've been too kind on the players. You know, there's a lot of things, and there'll be some people in the comments who I think will quite rightly go, how did you watch that game last night and think Mikel was the problem? And go on.
Because he opened his trap and talked shit after the game.
And that's what's alienated everyone, isn't it? It's the comments. The comments have really, really, really deflated me, and worse, giving me serious concerns, because I hope this is an all or nothing thing. Remember, we thought he was saying all the stuff off the pitch, and then in All or Nothing, we saw he was absolutely lambasting the players. Like, I'm hoping it's that. I'm hoping behind the scenes, he's on the phone, Stan and Josh Kroenke going, you better give me money. That he's telling Berta to deliver, and that he's looking at the players. Sorry, my phone's gone off. And that he's looking at the players going, that isn't good enough. I hope that's what's happening behind the scenes. And he's just taking the berating from us fans here, but behind the scenes, because I'm worried that that's the message he's giving off, like behind the scenes too. That concerns me. And those comments, what's that?
That's why Declan Rice said what he said, perhaps, because he's feeding into that narrative.
Or it's a media briefing, which was stupid, because I think clubs and players and everyone's way too media trained now. But generally, I think I was prepared. Had he not, honestly, guys, I'm hand on heart. Hand on heart. I seriously mean it. If he hadn't said what he'd said post-match, yes, I still would have had a lot of complaints. But watch my fan cam on AFTV. I wasn't this riled up. I really wasn't. And since then, I've done a video on the Gooniverse too. I wasn't that riled up. You know, I looked at the problems, and some of them lie with Mikel, and others lie with other areas too. But I think he made a big error with those comments. We were the better team. They said we deserved it. You know, we were the best team in the competition. You know, I'm proud of the team we've got. I'm proud of the players we've got. I'm just, you know, and did you see the other quote? I've got it written down. He was asked, sorry guys, you're going to want to hear this. He was asked on if he's confident we can win a trophy. I'm thinking, this is your moment, Mikel. He went, it depends. This squad 2 years ago, nobody believed that we could even probably qualify for Champions League. Not even think that we could finish second or compete in the league. Oh, you're killing me, Mikel.
To answer your question,
me, man. By the way, that's copied and pasted from the Arsenal website.
Oh, dear.
Like, you're killing me, man. Come on.
I think to answer your question, the reason why I think we spent the majority of this podcast battering Mikel Arteta is because, one, I think he set the tone with those comments post-match.
Yeah.
But also, he's the person that is plugged into every element of people who are also to blame. So he's linked to the owners. He's linked to the players. He signed the players. His tactics have, do you know what I mean, been culpable as well. So I think he's the central point of all of this. And also, this is a podcast we do. We're balanced. Out of the four of us, I'm probably the most favorable to Arteta most weeks. But he's not my dad. He's not my friend. Like, he'll get it. Like, if he needs to get it, he'll get it. Like, I don't know Mikel Arteta. So when
and
I
it's
think
only football, Jordan, isn't it? Like people mix it. People think it's personal. I don't know the bloke.
guy. Like, I
I'm
like
sure
him.
he's lovely, but I'm
like
just talking
him.
about him as a manager.
I rate him. I like him. I believe in him. But when he messes up, he'll get it. He'll get it.
But also the club.
But he's got a cult following though. Like with Wenger, I understood it. With Onozu, I understood it. With Arteta, I don't understand it. It's like people have convinced themselves that you cannot question, and that is the best way to support. Like I just don't understand how he's got that. Like,
I'll tell you
where
why.
did it come from?
I've got a friend Turkish, right? I won't name his name, but he'll know. He watched the pods. He'll know I'm talking about him. He said from early, to be fair, we're talking like 3-4 years back. He said, this Arteta guy, you know, he's all PR. He's got the slick hair. He's good looking, the good skin. He says the right things. He looks the part in his barber jacket. He's all PR. And that might be what the fans that are part of the cult might be drinking the Mikel Arteta Kool-Aid, because he's a slick operator. He is. He's a slick operator. And I think that's what a lot of fans might have just been. They like the idea of Mikel Arteta being a champion manager before he's even done it. And now they can't back down. I back him. I like him. But like I said before, I can easily drop him. It's nothing to me.
What do you like about him though? Are you talking about his character? Because I haven't warmed to him at all. Like I've credit over the years, very good coach. But what do you like about him? Like he's not charming. Like he's not really like a.
1 minute after I said none of this was personal, we
are going personal. When he first came, yeah, when he first came in, I liked his energy of, I'm not here to play games. I'm not here to be anybody's friend. I'm here to win trophies.
Yeah.
I like that initial energy, right? Standards have got to be risen. I like that. When he gets it right, as James alluded to earlier on, when he gets it right, we can't deny that tactically at times he's been amazing. He's been amazing. And we're not talking 1 or 2 games. We're talking quite a few games. He's demonstrated.
Seasons. Yeah.
Huh?
Seasons.
He's demonstrated that he's a very, very, very good manager. So tactically, I've seen enough from him to believe that this guy is the guy. The problem now is, I've said this before, is he going to be in the Pochettino Southgate category, where you're very, very good and you can take a team from here to there, but you don't have that winning gene that you need to get you over the line? That's where I've got a question mark. I think he can do it, but he's not proved it yet. I like how he carries himself. He does talk a lot of rubbish. He does talk a lot of crap. He does talk a lot of S after games, before games, all of that. I've met him a couple of times in my line of work. He's a warm character. He's intense, but I like him. But again, he's not my cousin. Like I don't. If he goes tomorrow, okay, next guy.
He's been warm. He's been warm because he's been loved this whole time, right? There's been moments in press conferences, especially this season, where certain questions have rattled him to the stage where you can see a bit of, you can see a bit.
Arrogance.
Remember the fucking free trophies thing with the Community Shield? Let's not forget that quote this season as well. He's been loved so far. It's easy to be a nice guy when you're loved.
Yeah, no. There's been examples where he's been a prick. There's been examples where he's been a total prick. Like, no doubt. I've seen him in press conferences with myself, bruv, why are you saying that? Or why are you behaving like that? So I'm not saying he's
probably
flawless.
true of every manager, though. Like, I think we should say it's a super high pressure environment. And Postecoglou, listen, there's, Jurgen Klopp, I mean, adored by almost even neutrals. But I mean,
he was a prick.
He had moments,
No, but the greatest managers ever are pricks. That's my point. Like, we need more of that.
Yeah.
We need more of that. Don't protect that with the smiley gelled hair. He's very warm with the journalists. That is excellent PR. Very warm. You're right, mate. You're right, mate. They asked the right questions. Anita, he probably won't do an interview with Anita again. Probably
I,
won't.
you asked what we like about him. I don't. It's not a personality trait. I like him because I think he's instilled legitimate hard work in this team. And even though I've criticised it and said it's probably gone too far that way, I think there's a team that run for every ball and understand the meaning of working hard for that 90 minutes on the pitch, and that as well as a lot of other things he's got right. But I just thought it was interesting the kind of we can say all this about Mikel, but let's play devil's advocate for a sec. Only an hour and a half into the pod. We don't know how much he says to protect the club. We don't know if he's been demanding forwards all these seasons and Edu didn't deliver. And maybe that's why he's gone. And maybe that's why Bert is here. And Jason Ato maybe had a shocker in his first window or only window where that was his role. And maybe the Cronkies haven't backed him. Maybe this whole the Cronkies are the best is his way of trying to schmooze them for a little bit more help. I don't know. And by the way, I don't really think a lot of what I'm saying, but I'm just saying it's just worth pointing out that we don't know what restrictions are on him. And I think the sad thing for a manager is you are always the one to front it up. It will always be players miss chances. That falls on the manager. Board don't sign players. That's on the manager. Not enough money spent. That's going to land on the manager. It's always going to come back. It just always does. I just think the reason there was so much cause for conversation around Arteta for the particular game, where actually I thought he coached us quite well, got a lot tactically right, and I think we went out, maybe not valiantly, but with a decent effort. I think the reason we're still talking about him is because of the comments which we mentioned, but because every excuse you can make for why we didn't win that game does trace back to Mikel in some way. In some way, injuries, you can. I'm sorry, I don't care if I haven't done physiotherapy. You can look at that. The lack of forwards and quality, where the money's been spent, you can look at that. And then you can talk about things like mentality. How have we scored 1 goal in 7 semi-finals? Were all 7 semi-finals impacted by lack of spending, injuries, too much football being played? We played a really good team. No, they all have different stories. Yet the one constant is we struggle to score goals and sharpen semifinals.
And all 4 games, all 4 semi-finals, we were outplayed.
Right. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. Well, 7. The point is, you can really trace a lot of it. Whatever excuse you have, you can point to something that at a management level, Mikel, his staff, and everyone around him, because we know he's got to say on transfers. We can't give him credit when he's convinced Declan Rice and convinced Calafiori, and then basically relieve him of any responsibility when we don't sign the players that we're meant to sign. So there's always a little bit of a trace back, and I think what's been 2-3 years of a lot of praise and love for Mikel, and even amongst the negatives, it's been overlooked by the positives. And this is the first time where, as a collective, as a fan base, I think a lot of us are feeling like, oh, Mikel, you're really pushing me.
Well, last year was don't be satisfied. He told us this year we're not satisfied. That's it.
What a great message, right? Didn't we all sit here on this pod and say that's what we needed to hear?
Yep.
He said, we want more and we're going to get it. I remember that quote. I remember that was, like I said, that is your moment, spokesperson for the club. You told us we're going to get it. And you know what? I didn't necessarily believe it was necessarily the season after, but I believe that this group of players were going to go on to do great things. He's followed that up this season with, if he's confident that we can win a trophy, it depends. This squad 2 years ago, nobody believed that we could even probably qualify for Champions League. The message is just miles off, guys. It's just miles off.
Before we wrap, are we definitely getting Champions League football next season?
Yeah, I think Newcastle dropping points the other day, plus Forest play Chelsea, Newcastle play Chelsea. Yeah, I mean, I think we'd have to lose all our games and the other results would have to be perfect. I might be wrong. If someone can tell me if I'm wrong.
We just need 2 points. We get that.
Oh God,
cool.
That's quite a lot.
We won't get them Sunday.
Well, we need a whole 2? Oh God. No, I mean, I'm deadly serious. I think we lose Liverpool and Newcastle. So I'm looking at Southampton thinking, well, I hope we win.
Do you know what? Realistically, the fans don't deserve that. The club does.
Yes, I agree. The club deserves it for pissing it away in January.
Yeah, they deserve it.
They deserve this stress.
Yeah,
We
the club.
don't. You're
The
right.
club. But listen, we want the trophy. The club have made probably 100 M's from the Champions League run, and to be honest, probably from semi-final to final, you're talking another 20 M's. So maybe that's why they didn't invest the 60 to 80 they need to in January, because the margins might be so fine that it's not worth it for the back pocket. But listen, we move because it's 2:15 in the morning. I could carry on for another hour. I could do a third match reaction really, but we are going to move on from here on to Liverpool away. I don't even want to talk about it.
Guys,
Here's the
we're
fucking
just
table.
not even to. Well
Here's
done,
the table.
Jordan. You fucking hell, that's getting tight.
Yeah.
3 points behind. Another
We got
correct
10
score
correct
for Jordan.
scores. Oh god.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jordan could sit there and say any other year in the last 2, I'd be winning the league. He could
Yeah.
say that.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say
That's why
if
you
this
love
was last
Mikel.
year.
That's no wonder.
Shut up.
Don't say that.
No, but it's true. It's true. You'd have walked it any of the other seasons.
Any other season, 3 stars.
I could lose it. This is 100. This is 130 point pace I'm on, and I could lose the title.
I'm coming for you, James.
3
Coming
games
for
left.
Oh
you,
my
mate.
god, this is stress.
It's funny because in the comments, we'll get to that in a second, but the comments were all like, oh, Jordan spent the whole podcast bigging up Arsenal, predicting Arsenal win, and then predicted a defeat. Yeah, because I was playing tactics. So just like understand what's going on here. Yeah, cool. Go on, James.
James.
It's the first time I've been stressed about this in months.
Yeah, pick wisely.
I think we lose 2-1.
2-1. Jordan.
Yeah, I think we lose as well. 3-1.
3-1. Lee.
3-0.
Can I change mine?
3-0.
It's all to Liverpool, right?
Can I change mine?
What did you want to change it to, just so James knows?
1-1.
Thing is, I mean, I'll allow it, but I shouldn't, because if
It's
we're
up to you,
both going
James.
for a defeat,
It's up to
then
you.
if-
Say yes or say no. If I
They're
was
not
you, I'd
locked
say
in.
no.
they're not locked in. It's fine. Go on. If you wanna
Turkish
go
is
on.
a hater. Turkish is a hater.
No, I'm just saying, bro. If you got a star by your name, then we're already, we're already there. But if you haven't, I don't want you getting one.
So, what do I need here? I need.
All right, 2-1,
End
James.
1-1.
1-1, Jordan. So if Jordan gets the correct score, you'll match up on points, but you'll be ahead on goal difference, which is the correct scores. And me and Lee, I mean, we're not battling for anything right now, because my prediction this week is who cares. You can put that in my prediction. Who cares? Yeah, you can add a question mark and an exclamation mark if you want, but the words are who cares. And that's my prediction. So hopefully I'll get a point come the next show. We'll see how that one goes.
How?
I don't know how. I don't know how, but we'll find out on Sunday or
Game
Monday.
postponed. Turkish gets a point.
That's it. Too windy or something. Let's move. I mean, I ain't got a comment of the day. I've been in
No,
Paris.
I haven't. I'll be honest. I haven't.
Slackers. I've got one. There was a lot today, so big up all the commenters. I've got two, but I'll read one. When James is swearing, you know it's bad. That made me chuckle. So I don't often hear you swear and curse, James, and the viewers and listeners acknowledge that. Yeah,
I was a bit fucking pissed off.
he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy.
One day you're gonna see James in a car like me, just ranting at the camera, just flipping out.
Put a pull over on the M5 and just.
We all start this way, James. Innocent, you believe in, and then this is what the club does to you as you get older, man. As you get older.
I hear it, but you know what? It's like a drug. It is, honestly. Guys, we're all going to be back here again next season.
There's no two ways about it. It's our
And there
club.
is going to be a moment where we're all believing that something good can happen.
Mhm.
That is just being a football fan, isn't it? It's the highs and lows. And like this is a real low. And the team have got it, the manager have got it. But that next win when it means something, not one of these next 3 games, but next season, right? God, we'll all be here beaming and singing their praises, but that's being a football fan, isn't it? It's like this is a fan channel in the end.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Right. It's our club. So as much as it, can bring out this side of us, it can also bring out another side. It's just that since the internet age has come in and, modern day, whatever generations, we haven't fucking won anything of real merit to see that side of it in full effect, like we have seen the pessimistic negative side in full effect. Unfortunately, it is unfortunate, but listen, yeah, that's been a chore. Hopefully you've taken from it what you will. I won't say enjoyed, unless you're the ops, and there is a few ops that watch this. I'm sure you'll be here, but yeah, community, Arsenal community, another season down the drain. A couple moments, Rice free kicks against Real will live long in the memory, but what will live longer is it was another season without anything, and essentially that's what really matters. So yeah, big up James, Lee, and Jordan. Big up the community. Apologies that we haven't all invested into the comment section this time round.
Yeah.
But next time round we'll make up for it, because I'm sure the comment section will be popping off for this episode. Apologies again for the delay. Love for the love. We'll be back after the Liverpool game out Monday morning, so look out for that, people. Hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, show the individual channels some love, and we'll see you soon. Peace.